Hello, Create Schools. Today we're going to take some notes on the Age of Exploration. So what you need is to get out a piece of paper and a pen and copy down Age of Exploration as your heading. You can also copy down that part 1. And then what I'm going to give, I'll give you the subheadings and the bullet points. So while we're doing these notes, I will give you explanations of what's going on. You should listen to what I'm saying. Then when I will tell you when I'm going to leave the thing, I'll tell you to pause the video. Then you can copy the notes down. Then when you're done copying the notes down, restart the video and we'll go together to the next slide. Okay, let us begin. So pause here if you have not written down Age of Exploration, or if you need to go get your paper first. Okay, so there's actually nothing to write down on this page. I just wanted to give you an overview of what it looks like. So here we've got the whole world, and we've got, here's most of the exploration is coming from Spain and coming over in this area of the New World. This is over here where Columbus landed and discovered the New World. Okay, so that's kicked off all of these people exploring in this area. Now at the same time, people were looking, basically everyone was looking to go to Asia. And so they went this way. Columbus convinced, the Italian Columbus convinced Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Spain to allow him to sail west to go to the east. So he sailed 4 times and he believed he discovered America. And I said that totally wrong. Columbus sailed 4 times and he believed he discovered how to get to India, and that is why they were called Indians first. But then he had someone sailing along with him who was a map maker, and he realized, this is not India, this is someplace totally different, and his name was Amerigo Vespucci, and that is where the name America comes from, Amerigo Vespucci. No one ever really talks about him, so I always like to put his name. In fact, his name are not even in our notes. But Amerigo Vespucci is the one who realized, hey guys, we are in a new place, and that's why they called it America. Then you can see all these other explorations going around, finally finding a sea route to India, because here we've got the land route that becomes known as the Silk Road. This is most likely Marco Polo. I can't actually read this here. Then we have people coming this way. We have Prince Henry the Navigator and Bartholomew Diaz, who both figured out how to get to India. So let's go on and go to the next page. And like I say, there was nothing really that you had to copy down, so you do not have to pause, and we'll go together. Okay, so the question is, why did the Europeans explore? Well, they wanted to get to Asia. They wanted to get the spices and all of the silks and the things from Asia. And when you go over land, if you go on the Silk Road, it takes a long time. So they're trying to find a faster route, a sea route to get to Asia. So then, while they were there, like I said, they bumped into this new world, the new world that Amerigo Vespucci realized, wait, these people are not Indians, these are Americans. Well, he probably didn't say Americans, because I'm sure America was named much after Amerigo Vespucci. I don't know when it was named. So, they discover a new world. So then they start thinking, let's explore this new world, because then we can spread the idea of Christianity, and we can teach all these heathens. A heathen is a person who doesn't believe in the Christian God. We can turn all these heathens into good Christians, and while we're at it, we can claim new lands. We'll discuss about what they're going to do with those new lands later. And of course, gold. When they get there, they discover tons and tons of gold, and so they can get rich. They can find slaves, and the explorers can find some women, because all these explorers are all men. They're not women coming over to the New World until much later. And of course, they wanted to be remembered. They wanted the glory of being a sailor. So go ahead and write down these notes. Pause the video first. Then you can write the notes down, and then when you are done writing the notes down, start the video again, and then you can join me on the next slide. So some things that made it possible, because in case you didn't know, the Christopher Columbus was actually not the first person in the New World. Of course, all the people that lived there were there way before Columbus, but they're not the first people that sailed there. The the Vikings, they sailed there first. In fact, Leif Erikson has believed to actually go there first, but he wasn't credited. Also, you can find a lot of interesting statues in South America that just do not look like statues that they would know. The Olmec Society, oh, I'm sorry, I should be showing you a picture of this, sorry, but I didn't. The Olmec Society have big, huge heads that the people look like people from Africa, not people from the Americas. So that leads people to believe that the Africans have also were there. So why suddenly was there all these people that decided, they could do it? Well, first of all, they had new weapons. They had new guns that could shoot better and more efficiently. They had swords with more hardened steel that can cut people better. And so with these new weapons, they were able to defend themselves better. They also had better cartography. That cartography is map making. So basically, they had better maps so they could find themselves, they could navigate back and forth between the New World and the Old World better. And they had more faster, reliable ships. I'm sure that Leif Erikson and the Africans that sailed to the Americas, it probably took them forever to get there, and it was probably very hard for them to get there. But with these new, faster ships, the smaller, more stable, faster ships, they could really get there, and it really didn't take them that long. Fortunately, I don't know how long off the top of my head, so I can't let you know that. Sorry. And of course, they had better navigation. So with the better maps, they used better compasses. And a compass is the thing that the arrow spins and it always points north. But they had better compasses, so they could find their way and they can repeat it. So it was a much safer travel. So it was actually at the right time that everything came together. And then when Columbus discovered the New World, or India as he thought, then they realized, hey guys, we can actually better go and look for Asia, and we can also explore this new world. So let's move on to the next slide. So if you haven't taken these notes yet, please pause the video, take these notes down, and then when you're ready, start the video and join me on the next slide. Okay, so Spain, we have two really important explorers. Columbus, as I've said, he explored in 1492, and he was Italian. And as I said in the first slide, he went first to Italy and asked them for funding, for money. And they said, no, 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 we don't believe you. We think you're going to fall off the world. Because at that point, they believed that the world was flat. And so they thought, okay, Columbus, if you sail west, you're going to fall off the face of the world, and we're not paying for that. So then he went and asked around, and finally the king and queen of Iberia, which is currently Spain and Portugal. So the king was actually the king of Portugal, and the queen is actually the queen of Spain, and together they were married, and the whole peninsula, the whole area that's Spain and Portugal, is called Iberia. And so they decided that they would give him money to explore. So then we have Magellan, who was in 1520, and he was Portuguese. And as I say, they were together, so it's Spain at the time. He was, oh, I just skipped something. I'm so sorry. I have this little Stichpunkt I want to tell you about Columbus, and I'll tell you about Magellan. So it goes 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So if you memorize that, then you'll know all of when this started, and it gives you a nice time frame, because remember, like I said many times, dates are not important, but what is important is having an idea of when things happen. So if you memorize 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, it gives you that idea right there at the end of the 1400s, mainly in the 1500s, is when all of this exploration happened. So let's get back to Magellan. Magellan is a Portuguese explorer who sailed for Spain, and as I said earlier, the king and queen of Iberia So that would be Spain and Portugal are the ones that funded Columbus. So by being Portuguese and sailing for Spain, that's very normal. So Magellan actually is the first to circumnavigate the world. He goes all around the world, but he personally does not make it. He is killed, but his ship actually makes it. And he goes discovers the southern tip of America, and that is called Cape Horn. And he sails around the southern tip of America and goes around. I believe one of our classmates did a lovely presentation on him, so you can go back and look, or I can share that with you later. Okay, so let's go on to the next country that had a big play, and that would be Portugal. Again, that's also not surprising because, like I say, the king and queen of Iberia are the ones who actually sent this out. So Prince Henry the Navigator, that is his name, in 1418, so that's even before Columbus, because Columbus is 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So Prince Henry the Navigator started a school of navigation, and he focused on the west coast of Africa. Okay, and so if you think about back to that original picture I showed you, he is the one who sailed a lot of that area, and then Bartholomew Diaz sailed around Africa, and he went around, and the tip of Africa is called the Cape of Good Hope. Okay, and he was the first to find a sea route to Asia. Okay, and because of that, the Portuguese took control of the eastern routes to Asia. Okay, then since they had explored really well Asia, they started something called a triangle trade, and I will explain that a lot more in the next video. But roughly what that is a trade system from Spain or England, Africa, America, and then back to Spain. So it's triangular, and like I say, in the next video you'll see that. And actually I'm going to pop back to that very first map for you, and then I'll go back for you to finish the notes. I just wanted to show you to make sure now that I've said it you really get a good idea. So this is where Columbus went. Okay, and here's where Prince Henry the Navigator went. He explored this area, and then Bartholomew Diaz went over around here like that. Okay, and there we've got the Cape of Good Hope, and this over here is Cape Horn, and so Magellan went like this around here. Okay, so let's move back. Okay, so now here I'm back to Portugal. If you haven't taken the notes on Portugal, go ahead and do that. But then I'm also seeing right now there is something else I really wanted to show you. So basically, the New World was split between Spain and Portugal. It was split by something called the Treaty of Torsidia, and it split, drew a line right here, and said anything east of that line, Portugal owned it, and anything west of that line, Spain owned it. So you can see some islands over here that were affected by that line. Okay, so it turned out they didn't know at the time that there was so much west. So that was a whole lot that Spain got, and just a little bit. Here's just Brazil. That was just one country. Okay, so now pause the video if you haven't already done so, and I will go into the next slide and we'll look at the other countries that explored. Okay, so then we have England and France, who also did exploration. And so John Cabot, in 1497, he said, well, you know what? I'm going to go north. There's got to be a northwest passage. Okay, so if I go up north, I should be able to sail over that landmass and go around. And so he actually could never find it, but he actually found India. And then again, he also believed, he found Canada. He also believed he found India, and he claimed that area for England. Okay, so then they realized also later, no. Also, that is not India. That's also another landmass. Then Henry Hudson spent ages looking for the Northwest Passage in 1609. He also didn't find it. And then France decided, you know what, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna spend our time looking for India because we're not really thinking you can do that. So we're just gonna explore the area we did find. And so he explored the whole American coast, and he claimed that area for France. So I'm going to go back to the map real quick. I'll come back to this for you to pause it. But here's our map again. So this is where they're looking for the Northwest Passage up here. Henry Hudson comes in here and gets stuck in here and ends up exploring here. Okay, you actually cannot get through here because this is all ice all the way up. There's no continuous water mass to get through. So this does not exist. There is no Northwest Passage. It was never discovered. It has never happened. The only way to go through the Northwest, you can come here, maybe a couple rivers, but then you have to go over land. And that just, you might as well go that way. Okay, so then the French, they look here and they look here. And so this is where the French explore here. So this area up here is English. This whole area here is French. This whole area here becomes Portuguese. And this whole area here becomes Spanish. So Spain has the biggest chunk. England, they basically only have here. No one really explores here till a whole long later. French have this area. And later French gets this area. French really explore a lot and they get here right up to where the Spanish have. Okay, so let me go back to that other video. Other slide. So this is the last slide in this series. We'll look at the impact of all of this in the next series. So if you have not finished writing down those writing down those words, speaking of the pictures, here's Cabot, here's Hudson, and here's Verrazano. So take a pause. Actually, you can stop the video or pause here, and then when you are done, just go ahead and take a picture. Scan your notes in and attach them to the classroom. You want to scan them and take really nice notes, because when you'll need these notes, if you've scanned them in, then you have a nice lovely electronic copy of them. So you'll have not only them on paper to study, but nice and on the computer to be able to study in case you happen to lose your paper notes, because you never know when you'll need these notes. Okay, I hope you have a nice day, and if you have any questions, let me know.